how did you decide that you wanted to be a nurse? When did that happen?
Ever since I was a young girl, I kept saying I wanted to be a nurse. I wanted to be a nurse. And I wanted to do it. Oh, that was difficult because my father and mother didn't have the money to help me. And I finally, Dad gave in and said that what he did was he made a sacrifice of an IOU to the bank for the $1,000 it took for me to register. And finally, they accepted me with the recommendation of our minister from my church.
Where did that desire come from? Why did you?
Just from always looking after the little ones, I think. I always desired it. And it had just something to do with my mother's influence, and because she'd always wanted one of her girls to be nurses. And she would have liked to have been. She was a teacher. She had a Central Normal College degree and was teaching school when she was 18 years old.
Was that unusual at that time for a woman to want to have a career, or were things like
Go
nursing?
to college?
Yeah.
My mother was probably one of the first in the recorded of going to teaching school, because mostly they just take somebody from high school and set them up in a school system, and we were raised in a one-room schoolhouse for, like, I was about 14 before we moved away from there, and so we were all eight classes in one room, and I just had the ambition that I wanted to be nursing. And when we moved up near Indianapolis, it was easy to keep that idea going. And I was doing house sitting with young people and women who wanted somebody with them during the day. And this one people, Mr. and Mrs. Kirby, they kept encouraging me to go to nursing, and they actually were offered to help me go if I wanted to, because they didn't have any girls and the boys were grown up. They were a funeral director and his wife, and I was staying in the summertime with her out in the country because she didn't like to be alone during the day. I did a lot of that, helping with people, and it just seemed to be a natural instinct for me to do it. But my dad, it was harassment and anxiety and tears and uncomfortable, because they weren't used to the girls, and I had to leave home and stay at the nursing school. So although it was only an hour or half an hour away, but it just seemed like a big thing for a girl to be ambitious to do extra, because you expect them to stay around home and stay the same, And I was pretty sharp in school. I didn't make top grade, but I was pretty sharp. And so I just kept pestering Mom and Dad, actually, at the senior year of high school. And I was in all service organizations that were contained with this school. I was Sunshine something or other for the Sunshine Society of the state, vice president, and I was just much more outgoing and active than the other girls.
She was also a cheerleader.
Oh yeah, through high school I was cheerleader, and I had a lot of friends. And it's just something that kept haunting me, that's what I wanted to do. And of course I hadn't met my to-be husband, so I had a couple of real close boyfriends that were challenging me, but I wasn't, in my nature was not to be tied down with somebody else's needs. And both the young men that I dated and were hankering to be married and be committed, and I didn't want to. So I had this in mind, that I was going to go to nursing school.